Hey, everybody, Coach Troy here. Now, all week, Atari has been teasing us with big, exciting news coming out on Friday. Well, Friday is here, and what is the big news? Well, here it is right here. That's right, this morning, Atari launched the trailer for the Intellivision Sprint. So, Atari's creating another Intellivision. Now, they put out this nice trailer with some pretty rockin' music, man. This is good stuff. I could definitely jam with this. It's kind of cool. They had this big thing about the first console war and how it was between Atari and Intellivision and they were enemies, but now they're friends. They should have gone the Vince McMahon route and done the I bought my competition. That would have been good stuff there, but probably don't want to associate yourself with Vince McMahon at the moment, though, so I guess they made the right decision there. So what we've got here appears to be a replica Intellivision with pre-loaded games. So looking at it, it looks very, very similar to the Intellivision, complete with wood grain. It is missing the Mattel electronics part and the intelligent television, but, you know, obviously they're not going to have that. And it doesn't appear to have a cartridge slot either, but what it does come with is 45 pre-loaded games. So 45 of pretty solid game lineup there. There's some good stuff in there. I mean, Shark is whatever. Though I thought somebody else owned the rights to Shark after that whole Miko thing, whatever. And it's got a couple that I am actually very excited for in Thunder Castle and Tower of Doom. Those are some pretty sweet games right there. And of course, everyone's favorite B-17 Bomber. You know, I've never actually sat down and played that game. I've got it, but I've never actually tried to play it. Is it any good? But is that all this is? Just a loaded mini console, pretty much? Like one of these things right here, but with better aesthetics? Oh dear, I hope so, because some of the ROMs they got on these kinds of things are just trash. And I know there's an At Games one as well. I have never played it, but I heard it wasn't particularly good either. But knowing what we know about what Atari has been doing with some of their ones, like the 400, the Atari 400 Mini, I think that if that's what the kind of system this is going to be, it's going to be a step up from those, because they're actually going to put a little bit of love and care into it and make sure that the ROMs that you get, the games you get, and how it plays is going to be good, or at least as accurate as possible. You know, that's what they're really going for, a lot of these things, is accuracy. So accurate, in fact, that for all of their 45 games, they're going to have, right, these covers for the controllers, so you're actually going to know what buttons you're supposed to hit. You know how these suckers work. They just kind of slide in. Ooh, mine. Okay, my controllers are a little bit crusty, all right? But yeah, they just slide over, and so you know what your keypad there is going to do. They're going to have double-sided ones, I guess, so that way if you're playing a two-player game, you're going to have one for each, but they're not, you know, wasting cost by printing out too many of these single ones. And if they're going to cut cost corners, I'd rather they do it there than by cheating us out of the HDMI and power wires, right? That's right, they finally listened, and they're no longer doing that crap move. They're actually putting all the wires in with their consoles now. And speaking of wires, let's get back to the controllers they got. Like I say, I hate these things. They don't reach out too far from there. So the ones you're going to be getting on the Sprint here, they're going to be wireless controllers. So that I'm very happy to see. So not having to worry about this stupid phone cord is going to be very nice. And I see they do look exactly, you know, they're replicas of these, which is a little frustrating because, you know, they're not great controllers. They're not fantastic, but, you know, again, they're going for accuracy, whatever. Maybe there's going to be some way, I'm sure, to get a different controller hooked up. I don't know if it's going to be Bluetooth wired or what, but hopefully there's going to be a way to get a different controller. But I suppose these will work for at least in the beginning. What is this disc thing? And that's going to be a question too. With those, am I going to be able to switch out my modded control devices, or am I going to be stuck with the disc on those? So I'll have to take a closer look, see if we can take it apart and whatnot. I'm sure, hopefully there's a way to do it. I know the 2600 joysticks they've been using were pretty similar, so hopefully the design in there is pretty similar as well, so we can make adjustments. But 45 games, that's a solid library, that's a decent amount, but I am seeing on there that, you know, there's some games that I own for the Intellivision that I'm going to be wanting to play that are not on that list. So am I going to be able to get these played? Well, a little cryptically written in there, it says that you can hook up an Intellivision 2 to this new one And you can play games through that as well as with the controller. So does that mean it's 4-player games? I don't know if there are any, right? And it also says that you can play other new games sold separately. I don't know. It's a little bit cryptic, but what does that mean? So if you have an Intellivision 2, and who's got an Intellivision 2? I don't think anyone held on to those. Those were kind of trash, right? Everyone's got these ones. Are you going to be able to play your cartridge games? Is that what it's saying? And you're going to have to get an adapter? If that's the case, wouldn't they just sell a different adapter that could just hook up to loose games? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. And if you're just going to be playing on a separate Intellivision that you got to hook up, then would you even need the Intellivision Sprint? Wouldn't you just hook up that thing to your TV? I don't know. So I'm getting more questions the more I look at this than I have answers at this moment. Like, for example, for games that require the IntelliVoice. Do I have to put this through the Intellivision 2? Or are there going to be... I'm pretty sure there'll be just voices already hooked up to the Sprint, but it doesn't say that exactly, so I don't know. So if nothing else, I'll be looking forward to hearing more and more news. I'm sure freaking Gen X grown-up, I'm sure Johnny there will have a pretty nicely laid out, detailed video on that coming up. He's always got the lowdown. So at the end of the day, that video has left me with more questions than answers, but I am very intrigued because the Intellivision, again, it's a system that I got to play a little bit when I was a kid at a cousin's house, and I have fond memories of it, but I really haven't gotten into it too much. I did end up buying one not too long ago, and I've got several games for it, but I haven't really jumped into it to see. So this Sprint here is really, it might push me to get into the Intellivision a bit more, but I got to get some more information on it first before I pull that trigger, because the price is what, $150, and I was still debating on getting that Game Station Go, and that's, what, $175, something like that. So I'm not made of money, but I do. Well, I want everything. What can I say? So more stuff to think about, of course, more decisions to make, and unfortunately with my upcoming surgery, I will be laid out from work for a minute, so I won't exactly be getting my regular paychecks, but hopefully I will be able to use this hand a little bit to be able to play games. So the Intellivision Sprint, not quite a mini console, not quite a plus system. What exactly is it? Well, we're going to figure that out. I'm looking forward to getting some more answers. Let me know what you guys think. This is Coach Troy, and I'll see y'all next time. Intellivision Sprint. God damn it, cat.